we go.
Tornadoes are some of the most terrifying natural disasters that happen on our planet. They can strike without warning, obliterate entire cities, and can throw people and cars around like they're toys. But how exactly big and terrifying can a tornado actually get?
Surely too big for my comfort. I was recommended this video quite a few times after we watched this nature compilation where I was saying I have an irrational fear of tornadoes. Not irrational because they aren't scary, they are, or because they don't happen many places on Earth. I know they do. It's just that I personally have only lived places where the prospect of a dangerous tornado is extremely rare. I've never heard a tornado siren that wasn't on a video, or stepped foot into a storm shelter. I've never been to Oklahoma, or that part of Germany that gets a lot of tornadoes. Where in the UK are there tornadoes? Or where else around Earth aside from Tornado Alley? Anyway, as someone who's never experienced one herself, I have this strange fear of being blown away or impaled with debris, which I suppose is the more likely case in that scenario.
Well, most tornadoes have wind speeds that are under 110 miles per hour and are smaller than 80 meters across. Imagine an American football field, and the tornado would be about as wide as 75% of the field's length. And while it would certainly be difficult, a human could actually manage to withstand being blown away by that wind speed. But
what kind of human are we talking? How big? Because smaller people are more aerodynamic, right? How much weight per tornado speed would it take to blow somebody over? Is there some type of equation I could do? So how much speed would it take to knock over somebody who's, say, 110 pounds? 50 kg, just asking for a friend.
That's not what you're watching this video for, so let's just get straight into the insane world of gigantic tornadoes and where they happen. Tornadoes have been documented to occur in every continent on Earth except for Antarctica, but a vast majority of tornadoes happen here in the United States in a region known as Tornado Alley. The reasoning for this makes sense because of the area's unique geographic location. Cold, dry air flows in, accompanied by the jet stream from the north. Warm, dry air flows in from the deserts to the southwest, and warm, moist air flows in from the Gulf of Mexico to the south and east. The combination of all this air mixing together is what causes Tornado Alley to be such a hotspot for tornadoes, and time again new records have been set here. The year 2011 saw a tornado super outbreak where in just 4 days there were 362 tornadoes that touched down over an area spanning from Mississippi to Virginia. On just April 27th alone, there were 218 tornadoes that touched the ground here. Together in the span of just 4 days, these tornadoes caused over $11 billion in damages, claimed the lives of 324 people, and injured over 2,200 others. You can actually tell the path that tornadoes have taken very easily from satellite images like this one or this one, but...
Is this considered ground scouring, or is that only the squiggly lines?
Even still, this wasn't even the most lethal tornado incident in the region. The deadliest tornado in U.S. history happened back in March 1925 in this region of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. There is no record of how fast the wind speed of the tornado may have been at the time, but it slashed through a path between all 3 states of 219 miles long. It traveled that distance in only 3.5 hours, meaning that if the tornado instead started in Washington, D.C., it would have reached all the way to New York City in the same amount of time. In that distance, the tornado claimed the lives of 695 people, but even that wasn't the deadliest tornado in world history. A lesser-known tornado hotspot is located on the other side of the world in this region of Bangladesh and eastern India. More lives have actually been claimed in this region by tornadoes than even in Tornado Alley, and the most catastrophic of these happened back in 1989. Most people in this region live in very impoverished conditions and poorly built structures, and that combined with the insane population density of the area is what led to this disaster. The tornado struck a heavily populated area of these poorly built structures and ended up claiming the lives of over 1,300 people and injured over 12,000 more. It was considered an EF5 tornado, which is the highest possible categorization for a tornado, meaning that it had wind speeds of well over 200 miles per hour, which is capable of lifting cars, trucks, and even train cars and turning them into missiles that can be fired over a mile away from the tornado itself. It's often not the wind that actually kills a person in a tornado, but the vast amount of debris that the tornado picks up from obliterating houses and buildings. Wooden splinters, trees, metal, cars, and even animals can all become a swirling vortex of death traveling at speeds of several hundred miles an hour.
Oh my. Imagine getting hit by a flying cow. Also, what is this? Top left. Actually, the closer I'm looking at all of these pictures, I'm thinking, what the?
With all of this being said, however, the largest and probably most terrifying tornado known to have ever happened on our planet was the El Reno tornado, and it took place not too long ago in 2013 just west of Oklahoma City. Compared to the size of most tornadoes that I talked about in the beginning of this video, the El Reno behemoth reached a size of 2.6 miles wide and achieved a terrifying wind speed of 302 miles per hour, which is the fastest recorded wind ever taken on our planet. To put these numbers into perspective, you could actually fit 2 fully sovereign countries completely inside the width of the tornado, Vatican City and Monaco. Even more ludicrous is what it would look like if we put this tornado over New York City. The entire length—
2 of the smallest countries, but fair enough. If not the smallest 2 countries. Or am I missing Nauru? Tuvalu. I want to watch a whole video on, what was the El Reno tornado. If you know of one, let me know.
The entire length of Central Park from end to end is almost a perfect measurement of how wide this tornado actually was. So imagine a tornado that long with winds screaming around it over 300 miles per hour. That's fast enough to severely damage even skyscrapers and can rip the asphalt straight off of streets on the ground. If you're curious what would happen to your face at those speeds, then here's a video taken from the NASA Langley Research Center back from 1946 showing exactly what would happen to you in such a tornado condition.
That's how my face feels in a roller coaster.
If the El Reno tornado had happened literally just a few more miles to the east, it would have directly hit downtown Oklahoma City, and it probably would have destroyed the city. The scariest thing about tornadoes like this one is that they can happen in a huge variety of places with very little warning, and it's entirely possible that the next time a big one happens, it won't be in a countryside field, but rather in a large city. I'm going to leave you with this fascinating map from NOAA that shows you the daily probability of a tornado strike near your house throughout the year. Enjoy.
Okay, creeps its way through the south. Alabama and Mississippi were patient zero. Oklahoma and Texas really get it? What is that, Kansas? Dorothy was wrapped up in that. The West Coast is completely spared. I'll stay over there.
So thank you very much for watching this video.
RealLifeLore is going to be linked down below. Part of me thought that watching this video would help face my fear, but I can tell you now that it's worse now that I have more information. So thanks for recommending this one. As I record this, there was a horrible earthquake. Now, an earthquake I have lived, albeit not anywhere near as intense as this one. The videos coming out of that are terrifying. If you've ever lived through a tornado, what was it like? Also, where are you located? As far as my scary natural disaster tier list, tornadoes are up there. So are tsunamis. I honestly don't know which one I think is worse. Anyway, leave your thoughts on this. For today's category, we've got weather-related music. This one took me a second. So drop your choices down below. As always, any genre, any language. I'm starting with Riders on the Storm by The Doors. Easy choice. This is 70s rock. I still don't really know what Jim Morrison meant by these lyrics. I read that there's a reference to a serial killer from the 50s in there, but that's pretty much the extent of what I understand. So if you know, please tell me. I'm gonna continue on with the 70s. Ryo Fukui and his song Autumn Leaves. Ryo Fukui was a Japanese jazz pianist. The whole album that this song was on is a masterpiece. It's called Scenery. If I can find a video that compiles all of the songs of the album, I'll link it for you. And lastly, Tormenta. This is Bad Bunny and the Gorillaz. Something about this combination still surprises me. Tormenta means storm in English. Bad Bunny makes, I wouldn't call that rap, Latin hip-hop. although his latest album was more plena and had some cumbia in it too. The Gorillaz, of course, is that virtual band fronted by Damon Albarn of Blur. I think this song has some reggaeton influences in there. So I look forward to seeing your music choices, and that's it from me. Thanks for watching with me. See you next time.